Hey everyone, this is the LEGO Space Shuttle Explorer set. It's a Creator 3-in-1, meaning there are 3 official builds for it, of which you can only make one at a time using the parts from one box. This is the smallest, simplest of the 3 builds here, which LEGO calls a Space Rover. It's just a vehicle to travel around a planet surface or a planetoid surface to collect data and to see what all is out there. This has the ability to house the minifigure inside of the cockpit area. There's no steering wheel or anything, it's just an open space, but it does have a console, printed console. There's that one printed console piece in this whole set. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do back here on the back. So this is some sort of arm that can come out. You can use that as a work light, I think. Kind of rotate it around to the side of the place, or maybe bring it down to the ground and scrape up the ground a little bit, you know, to disturb the surface. Or maybe you could use that closer to the ground to represent some sort of scanning device. But then they also have this, which comes out, which is some sort of probe. It can be used to conduct small seismic tests, perhaps. Put that down on the ground and then, you know, send little taps or vibrations through, measure what comes back. Maybe these two work together. Definitely, you are encouraged to use your imagination here. I personally don't like the fact that these wheels have no tires on them. They roll very loud and they don't work very well over hard surfaces. I also don't like the exposed yellow pieces on the sides, but this is the smallest, most basic build using the fewest pieces, and it's an interesting thing. It's definitely different from the main build. But let's move on to the second build, the medium one. Now this I think is great. To make this structure that looks pretty well covered up, you know, a whole modular system, modular space station, you know, habitat, made from the pieces of a space shuttle. Yes, this is what LEGO is all about. They've got a crane out here which can also be used to do kind of the same stuff that you could do with the arms on the back of the vehicle. You know, this can be used to actually grab things, or you could use it for digging in the soil and taking samples and such. Here, the printed console piece is outside, and it's just, you know, some sort of panel. Again, definitely use your imagination. Things open up. This is a main entry hatch over here. That's pretty nicely done to use the pieces of a space shuttle. Again, yeah, you see some strange colored pieces inside of there. That's part of the kind of the thing that LEGO does these days for kits that are, especially kits that are made for younger kids. They really want to make it as easy as possible to find the parts, to really minimize the frustration of putting things together. Nice little skylight area over here. You can see this is being a cutaway of a greenhouse area. There's not really any detail inside except for this area here. This is nice how that opens up away from you. You can see kind of a workbench back there, so some experiments would be conducted there. But yeah, it's mostly just a kind of a platform for you to use your imagination. But I love the structure, I love the shape. It really works for me. Here I actually think the yellow works well. It's exposed, it looks a little bit more intentional how that's shown. And I appreciate the shaping of the side of this here. This just makes me happy. This is just great stuff from LEGO, especially again considering this is made from effectively a spaceship. Speaking of spaceship, here is the space shuttle, the main build, which uses all of the pieces of the set. I'm going to keep the minifigure out of the picture for the moment and just focus on the ship, come back to the figure. This is inspired by the design of the American space shuttles, but it's not intended to be a direct replica. You know, it takes most of the basic design cues, but in the back, 3 large engines or engine groups and also some smaller ones off to the sides. The build of this felt good. It felt like it had just the right number of parts, just the right level of complexity of design to accomplish the shapes. It's very genuine, it's very wholesome in that it uses a lot of traditional styles of pieces. The only things that are relatively recent, I mean, there are a number of relatively recent parts here, but the things that feel the least classic about this are these round panel pieces on the sides. But I think they work nicely. I like what they did for the nose of the craft. They used the Speed Champion style windscreen. And one of the best things about this to me is that the cargo bay doors open up and then you have stuff inside to do. They have a kind of simulated, simplified Canadarm that can come out and that can rotate around. It has great range of motion, and it'll directly connect onto a little bit of cargo here, the payload. Look at that, I didn't even have to bring in a second hand. I didn't even have to touch the payload itself. It directly connects there. Perfect alignment, allows you to deploy or capture a satellite. And this opens up with its solar panels like so. It's got the gold elements on there, just like something really would that we put out there. It's just, it's a really nice thing. I love just how much mobility you get out of this simulated Canadarm and how it's able to directly connect to the cargo. Of course, you can change out the cargo itself, put other things in there. It's a reasonable amount of space, and I think it's just well done in general. I also like what they've done for the shaping for the vertical stabilizer here. You know, it's angled up. This is actually rather sturdy. It's connected with two clips at different levels, and it's just an unusual angle, unusual shape for Lego stuff, and it makes me happy. You can get into the cockpit of this as well, of course. All this just comes up, and there you start to see some of the other odd colors, and once again, no control sticks or steering wheel yoke or anything, but they make use of the printed console piece there. With the main space shuttle build, you also build up this nice EVA system, which is scaled well. Small number of parts, but I like it. I like how genuine it is. It doesn't use any special molded pieces, at least nothing special that has been designed in the past few decades. It's just a nice little thing, but let me take that off to look at the figure by itself. The semi-realistic torso print I think is very nice. I think that it'll fit into many different realistic scenarios and also made-up scenarios. I appreciate that they continue to use the derivatives of the original Classic Space logo, and they've just, you know, updated it through the years, but they've never taken it too far away from the original. It still remains nice and grounded and based on, you know, early space exploration program logos and just concepts and how things were depicted. So a lot of connection, a lot of root to history there. And I like that, even though it's a very modern print with modern standards. The face has just a little bit more expressiveness that you can see with the helmet off, as you can get a view of the entire set of eyebrows there. But more importantly, there is an alternate face, a very extreme alternate face. So the assumption would be that he has seen something in space, maybe, or something has gone wrong. That's unfortunate. I wish that he had another happier face instead of this, because it suggests a mission failure. Yes, failures occur all the time in space, but I don't want to imagine that. I want to imagine good stuff. Overall, to me, this set is good stuff though. So much nicer to actually build up the front of this versus just using one single huge preformed piece. And it's still compact and still looks really nice. I think the decision Lego made quite some time ago to bring minifig scale to the creator line, or vice versa, was one of the best decisions they have ever made in their entire history. They just bring us some beautiful stuff that is, you know, it's classic in the use of just parts and just connecting pieces together, not relying on stickers, not relying on large preformed things. But at the same time, they make these modern builds. They do use modern techniques, and the stuff looks good. So I am very happy with this set, and it would be interesting to see what stuff other people come up with using the same parts from this set. Let me know in a comment what you think of the set on the whole, and if you have any specific thoughts about the individual builds. Hope you enjoyed this. I definitely did. I'm going to talk to you again soon in my next video.